Hello, I'm Sebastian. I go to Gun High School, and my second milestone for my self-lacing shoe was to get everything, all the components mounted onto the back of the shoe and to finalize my code. So for the components mounted on the back, what I first did was I mounted a small metal mounting plate by screwing it into the shoe, which was one of the most important parts of it all because if that came loose, all the components on the back of the shoe would also start to come loose. And so making sure that was very securely fastened was a very important part of the project. So I spent a good amount of time on that, and it's very secure now. And basically for the two servos and the battery pack, I just use zip ties to attach it to the mounting plate itself. And for the Arduino and motor shield on top, I just attached it with Velcro to have it be a little bit more accessible for the rest of the project. As for the coding section of it, what I wanted to do at first was use a timing function such as millis, or a delay function because I wanted to get the servos spinning forward to tighten the shoe for like a second and just pause and then spin the other way to loosen it. But this didn't end up working, and it would have been very difficult to add modifications later on as well. So what I instead opted for were a couple of physical buttons here so I could manually control when the shoe should tighten and untighten. The way these work is by way of a state machine, which is kind of a complicated concept. It was for me at least, because I was very new to coding, but I took it in small steps. And basically what it does is it's a series of states that you can kind of travel between by way of inputs, which are kind of for example, to get from state 1 to state 2, which is basically the force sensor is looking for a reading, and once it gets a reading, it moves on to state 2, where one of the two buttons is looking to be pushed. If you push the green button, which should tighten the shoes, it moves to state 4, and it stays there until the green button stops being pushed. If the red button's pushed, it's state 3, which is the loosening phase. And throughout all these states, the force sensor needs to read a value or else nothing will happen, so that's kind of the integral part of it all. And the force sensor is going to go inside the shoe later, which is what your foot will be stepping on. I encountered some issues with the buttons as I was coding my state machine because one of them wouldn't work for some reason, and I was very confused because it had the identical code as the other one that I needed to have, and all the wiring looked fine. So I took a multimeter and I was checking the voltage, and I found out that it didn't have any voltage going to it, which was part of the problem, but that didn't fix it all the way. And so after some closer examination on my code, I also realized that I had some misplaced brackets, and also I had an if statement where an if-else statement should be. And since I had a lot of if statements in my code, it was hard to spot for me. But I'd say that's definitely one of the biggest things I learned throughout all of this is brackets can kind of make or break your code, and a small misplacement of a bracket can throw a lot of things off. And so overall, I'm very happy with how this turned out, and I'm very excited to keep going and add some cool modifications. Thank you.